everyone. Welcome to another episode of Monday Tsene with Pretoria Psychologists. My name is Vuyani Muleya. I'm an industrial psychologist by profession. However, today I'm going to be talking to you about the topic of men and mental health. As you are aware, South Africa is struggling with the issue of most men not accessing mental health for various reasons. Today's conversation is about trying to at the very least, to spark a conversation about why is it that men don't seem to attend to their mental health and wellness. We are going to try and carry the conversation in such a way that we are not classifying men as victims, we are also not classifying them as perpetrators, but rather we are just trying to have a conversation to look at some of the foundational issues and fundamental issues that maybe make it difficult for men to access mental health compared to other members of society. In order to carry this conversation, I would like to look at three things that I believe are primary contributors to men not accessing mental health as much as they should. The first and obvious one is the issue of toxic masculinity. Without being too technical, toxic masculinity speaks to the idea that a man doesn't cry, a man must be strong, and a man must always be seen to be carrying himself in a manner that doesn't show weakness, in a manner that shows that he is upright and he's in charge. That's, in short, the idea of toxic masculinity. Another issue that is contributing to deteriorating mental health amongst men is the notion of spiritual bankruptcy or spiritual poverty. The idea that most men don't find it necessary or important to have a relationship with God, or to have a relationship with their ancestors, or to have a relationship with nature, or whatever it is that they believe in that will help them to nurture their soul and their spiritual well-being. So we see that as one of the contributing factors to men not being well in this country and everywhere else in the world. Another issue, and I think most people will agree with this one, is the notion of social expectations or upbringing or social conditioning. That one speaks to the idea that society, in a way, trains men to live in a particular way, and men who are unable to meet those expectations and standards of society tend to struggle with being themselves, and they tend to struggle with fitting in society. And as a result, they experience a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, and most of them don't get mental health awareness or access because they think they will be seen as weak. One of the obvious examples of society placing a lot of pressure on men is the idea that if you are a man, you are a provider, and if you are a man, you are a caregiver and you are a protector. And as a result, if you have two children that are the same age, as those children are growing up, the boy child is told from a very young age that unless you are able to provide, unless you are able to protect, unless you are able to do something, you are not worthy. Whereas if the conversation was different and a boy child was informed that you are worthy for just being a human being, being alive, makes you a worthy person who's deserving of love and attention and affection, then maybe we wouldn't be having as many problems as we have. So to try and locate this conversation even further, if we talk about the idea of social conditioning, you don't even need to look far. You just look at the media every day on your Facebook, on Twitter, on your WhatsApp. You will see all the time there is this narrative that seems to suggest that a man who doesn't have money, a man who doesn't have social status is not good enough, and a man who's not living a particular lifestyle is not good enough. Even things that are supposed to be basic and natural, such as love, demand money, and they demand that men must be able to do extraordinary things in order to have something that is actually natural and godly, such as love. Even in our families, we hear this notion that ubuhle bendoda zinkomo zayo, which means your beauty or your attractiveness as a man depends on how deep your pocket goes. Inkomo just being a metaphorical symbol for wealth. Therefore, if you think about it, you can already see that the assumption is that if you are a man and you are not wealthy or you are not doing well financially, then in the eyes of society, you are not good enough. And obviously that has an impact on most men, because let's face the facts. Majority of men in the world and in South Africa are not doing well financially for a number of reasons, be it historical impediments in our economy, current systematic exclusions, and many other reasons that make it difficult for men to achieve the level of wealth that they would have wanted to achieve. But be that as it may, if, for example, you have a female, a woman and a man working in the same job. I saw the other day on my WhatsApp, somebody posted a picture of a man and a woman who were at a McDonald's food outlet. And next to the woman, they wrote, "Strong, independent black woman." And then next to the man, they wrote, "Broke nigger," which is ironic because these people are working at the same place and they are doing the same job. Why is it that the one person is seen as a broke nigger and then the other one is seen as strong and independent? So this speaks to our social ills. The expectation and the pressure that we are putting on men is such that most of them are struggling to contain it because they try to live up to that expectation. So the first advice that we would like to share with you today, if you are a young man or even an older man watching this short clip, is that you must not make it your responsibility to live up to people's expectations. You are worthy and valuable irrespective of your financial or social status. So this social conditioning that has happened over so many years that says a man's worth depends on what he has or what he can do, we need to change that narrative. And we need to do this also as parents in our homes by raising our boy children in such a way that we don't put unnecessary and undue pressure on them to say the only way that they can be worthy and deserving of love is if they have a lot of money and they have the ability to provide, which essentially puts them under a lot of pressure. Hence, we have a lot of men doing crime, heist, house robberies. All of these things are because of the pressure that society puts on men. But to be fair, men are part of the society and men are part of the construct that the society places on them. So men themselves must also look in the mirror and start changing the narrative, even themselves, in addition to the fact that they don't have to live up to society's expectations. So that is the first thing. Let's be careful how we raise our boy children. Let's raise them with love. Let's reassure them and make them know that they don't need to be providers or protectors in order for them to be deserving of love.